if you could dictate the opening paragraph of a Joe Sked Wikipedia page, what would it say?
Wow. Former goalkeeper has to be in there. Former goalkeeper, and how do they normal start? I think probably former goalkeeper and current TV panelist, and then in brackets for the time being.
For the time being, fair enough. Right, I'll get this in 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, Goggsy here, and you're watching another edition of the Gog Pod. Today I've been joined by Heart of Midlothian supporter Joe Sked, who is most known for his appearances on A View from the Terrace. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, good. Thank you for having me on. And I am conscious that I've got a very, very white face, but this is the nature of my flat, and I can't get the lighting just right. So this is my face is just going to be this bright for the foreseeable future.
Fair game, fair game. So, of course, tonight's theme on the podcast is we're wearing goalkeeper shirts. So, Joel has a lovely green number. Not the first time I've seen him wear a green shirt before.
This is a top I have had. So there's the sleeves.
Oh wow!
That's and so yeah, it's just past my belly button. So this is a goalkeeper top I have had in my possession for since the late 90s. Mm-hmm. So that I used to be a goalkeeper when I was younger, and Peter Schmeichel, my dad was a Man United fan, so Peter Schmeichel was one of the goalkeepers I looked up to. So this I dug out, and it's actually got a few signatures. It's got I can't see it because of the quality of my lighting, but it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 signatures on it, and I wore this to Hearts. Used to run these goalkeeping academy things, days where they just you get some goalkeeping coaching, and I went wore this, and they had some of the first team stars. I was trying to work out who the signatures are. I've not got a clue, and I genuinely can't remember the being there really.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I reckon this is a large boys.
Fair game. I've got quite a tight fitting one myself. I don't actually know when this is from. It's one of my dad's hand downs. Basically, I think it's from the 80s.
It ticks a lot of boxes for a goalkeeper top, an old school goalkeeper top. There's a wee collar. They've got the shoulder pads. A nice padding. Oh, I like the goalkeeper top with padding.
It does. Like, you've actually got the full of my back arm basically padded in case I make a diving save. Whoop. And so it's Motherwell shirt, obviously, but I honestly do not know what season this is. So anyone watching this, comment down below if you have any recollection. That's for the seniors watching. First of all, well, I think we'll just get straight into it. A View from the Terrace. How did you get involved in the original Terrace podcast?
I got involved because so I had a previous kind of iteration when Craig Fowler did it with Kenny Miller and Alan Temple, two excellent journalists. Obviously, Kenny Miller's gone on to work for Hibs. I think he's left recently. So I think just with their jobs. At the time, they had to exit, so it just left Fowler kind of with a void. He asked Tony Anderson, who's a good mate of his, and myself, the way we came to kind of know each other just through Jambo's Kickback, the Hearts Forum. I, for some reason, knew who he was. His username was Forrester Jambo, and I bumped into him at a club in Edinburgh, the Cavendish Cav. It's had there's a lot of names, but it's kind of famously or infamously known as Cav in Edinburgh. It was student night on a Sunday, and he was walking past, and I just shouted out his Jambo's Kickback username, the sad sack that I am. We got talking, and then he was doing university. He was in a uni class. We were doing the same course, but he was 2 years above me, 3 years above me. And that's how the podcast came into being. But a few years down the line, he asked me to come in and fill in with Alan Temple and Kenny Miller going. So that back in, it's probably 8-9 years ago now.
Wow, it's a long time.
A long time of podcasting, and yet my speaking has not improved, which is incredible.
Speaking of your speech, what is your favourite phrase that you've coined on the spot?
There's trying to think. There was one with I was talking about Kai Kennedy, and I think it was like the poise of a ballerina or something like that. It was just I always try and get something stupid in when talking about the players. But if I'm terrible at thinking stuff up on the spot. So if I had a few, there's probably a few daft things I've said on A View from the Terrace that amuses me.
Yeah, it's like addressing footballers as their nicknames and all that.
Yeah, that was. That was amusing. I should have kept it going. I kept on forgetting to, because when I prepare my notes, I always kind of write their nicknames in brackets, and then I end up just forgetting to call them that. But David Witherspoon will always be Spoony, and Andrew Considine will always be Consy.
Absolutely. So, what would you say is an average week in the life of Joel Sked?
I would average week in terms of when the TV show's filming. So we film in usually 2 10-week blocks. Mm-hmm. So it's different when that's happening compared to normal life. So when we're doing the show, it's basically not 24/7. It's not as bad as that, but it's 7 days a week essentially, because we've got, where's the best place to start? So on a Friday, we had the script comes out of what the topics we'll be looking at the following week, or the kind of wrapper, like for Frankenballer or Boyat Index when it was. So those kind of things we find out, and then immediately on the Friday you're thinking about it. Saturday I cover a game, usually cover a Hearts game on a Saturday. If so work on the Saturday, and then Sunday it's a case of filling out that script and then watching as many games as possible over the weekend. I try to watch 4 Premiership games a weekend, and it's not helped with Hearts in the Championship this season, because it's meant that's almost an extra game. So like Sunday is spend a bit of time with the missus, spend it time like the dog, just try and chill. But then mind is kind of always looking towards that script, getting it done. So we have a meeting on Monday, Monday night, firm it out. Tuesday, then it's kind of writing up the notes, and then Wednesday record. On top of that, I work a full-time job with Even News and the Scotsman. So really, I use one of my days off from work to do the show. So Sunday is usually my day off, and even then it is still watching football and writing out a script. So it's pretty full on. And I've got to admit, when we do finish the 10-week block, there's always a big relief, just because I can go back to just working 5 days a week, having a bit of time off, and kind of almost switching off. So I've not probably seen it from my Twitter. I'm really looking forward to the football season finishing, not just because it's been hectic, just because having to watch Hearts, it's been trying.
Yeah, it's same with me for Motherwell. I mean, up until Graham Alexander came in, like, we were just, well, I mean, it's not improved greatly, but the results have improved. But mm-hmm. I mean, I think for everyone, everyone just wants the football season to be over, even though it's been our one avenue of escape from whatever this shit has been over the last 12 months.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's been I kind of found myself enjoying lockdown more when football wasn't on, weirdly. Just because when it is on, I try and watch as much as possible. Just because of the podcast, The View from the Terrace, I don't want to be I want to be up on things. I'd want to do my research, and I never want to go into something where I'm thinking I actually don't know kind of what I'm talking about. I want to come. I could read what fans of teams think of their team, and I do. I think that's a really important thing to do. But to watch the game as well, I think it's important. So like last night, having watched the Hearts Morton game, I paid £15. So on the Tuesday night, I paid £15 to watch Aki's Motherwell last night. Oh, that was.
Sorry for you, mate.
It was dire.
It was
absolutely
so
dire.
It was so bad. But I'm not complaining about the result.
No, of course not. It's one of those where, speaking to Motherwell, pal of mine, he's not been impressed. The results I've seen something on Twitter today that since Alexander's came in, the third best points total in the league, which you can't complain about. But it must have felt a massive sense of relief to finally beat Aki's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about Hamilton Accies at the best of times, but it's just the fact that, like, they're that cockroach that never goes down, and it's just a case of just wanting to beat them so that they don't actually have anything worth shouting about.
So, are you wanting Accies to get relegated as a Motherwell fan, or do you like having them in the league?
I like having them in the league because, well, it's another game to talk about. It's not like when we play St Johnstone. It's just like I really can't be bothered whenever we play St Johnstone or Ross County at home. It's just it's not like playing like the so-called Big Five. And it's usually a packed crowd at Fir Park. It's usually a very high tempo match. Because I'm pretty sure you'll probably agree, Motherwell v Hearts is usually a good game at Fir Park. And in terms of home game, Hamilton Accies does bring a bit more in terms of people saying they don't bring much to the league, but they make it a bit more interesting. And the fact that they often beat us gives us more reason to go out and try and beat them. Because
absolutely. I think it's one of those derby games. You do love seeing your rivals suffer, and it's kind of funny when if they are relegated. But I mean, it takes out, especially in Scottish football, 3-4 games a season where it's excitement. There's a bit of buzz about it. Yeah. With Accies, I actually think they bring a lot. I understand why fans think they don't bring much to Scottish football, but I think they bring so much to the Premiership just because they are such a unique club.
Very unique.
Very unique club. They've got their quirks. Stadium for one, but no, I think they're a very interesting football club.
Mm-hmm. And that, as someone who does stuff on the media, like, I mean, it brings more media attention just because it's a derby.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps what I would say is my job a wee bit more, because I get a few more views on YouTube as well. So it's always a perk, I would say.
Yeah, I think there was some Hamilton fans clipped up some of your stuff from previous defeats. I think I've seen that kick around on Twitter.
Yeah, it happens all the time, mate. It happens all the time.
Just that's one thing you just have to deal with it. My favourite one was, there was a Celtic fan. I think it was I can't remember which, Chairman Lamau. He's got a few Celtic fans got massive followings, and it was me when I in our second season, first season, was just almost fawning over Alfredo Morelos, and I was saying he was better than. So basically, I was just saying he was the best player in the league. Fowler was just saying better than Callum McGregor. I was like, yes, better than Edward, yes, better than blah blah blah. And he clipped that up and basically just slaughtered me. Celtic fans slaughtered me. You just have to roll with it. You just have to roll with it.
That's exactly it, mate. So, would you say production day is the best day of the week?
When we're filming. No, Sunday's my favourite day of the week, but the second favourite is filming day, just because it's very close. Just Sunday, I'm not working. Filming day is great because, especially that I've appreciated even more during lockdown, because you are still getting to see mates, and actually you get rather than texting over WhatsApp, you're actually getting to see and interact with them in person. So aside from actually spending all day talking about Scottish football, it's just good to be with the mates. And probably the best part of it is just chatting shit behind the scenes, behind like the camera, and just talking absolute nonsense. So yeah, it's great. It flies by when there's a guest in. There's always a buzz. We all kind of chat with them for 20 minutes, 25 minutes in the green room before we go down the film, and it's just there's an excitement about it. So yeah, it's a massive buzz, and it's a long day, but you come back from it, and it's really really fulfilling. And like I said, the five of us have really good chemistry as well. So yeah. I think all five of us are very. It's weird. We've got five very different personalities, but I think we are all quite similar in terms of like humor we enjoy, and kind of a lot of similarities in terms of our personalities, but also a lot of differences. And I think that comes across well on the TV show. And it's I do often get asked about Rob and Telfer, their relationship. I mean, they're probably out of the five of us, they're probably actually the closest. But when I get asked about it, if someone bumps into me uptown or wherever, I always say they hate each other, despise each other, and it's really awkward in the green room. They just don't speak to each other. They have to sit in opposite ends of the room.
Oh, I mean, to be fair, if that was me, I'd probably do the same. Like, because Telfer actually told us, I think they both actually told the story on the podcast of how they met, and there's how coincidental they were on the same flight, etc.
It's a start of in Berlin. Yeah, it's a start of I love a kind of rom-com. The type of shit rom-com that probably Telfer would watch on a Tuesday afternoon while he's doing his work. Yeah, the Telfer is in the process of looking for a flat in Glasgow, and when we were talking, and I think it was the last episode, Rob, they were just talking about the potential of them living together, and they were just laughing at how that scenario of them living together would then show on TV, and they just snap at each other for like someone leaving the toilet seat up or whatever, or not taking the bins out. So yeah, I think that's the next stage in their burgeoning relationship.
Oh, definitely. What would you say is your favorite segment from the show?
In terms of like something we've done, or so like some of the features we've done, or just the one kind of look forward to when it's
what do you look forward to talking about the most when it comes to the show?
Something I always really enjoy the first two sections. So the first section is usually there's always something that I'm really passionate about. I'm really passionate about kind of fans, and just how I always think fans get really shoddy treatment within the media. You've seen that, I think, Falkirk slacked there. It's usually revolves around a manager under pressure. And basically, pundits, ex-players will always say fans should kind of be grateful. Like Hamilton always got it. They should be grateful for what like Martin Cannon does. Aberdeen fans should be grateful what Derek McInnes is. It's not that these fans aren't grateful. It's that they understand the great stuff they've done, but it's like time to move on. And I just think always fans get a bad rap in the media, and I always like to stick up for fans. So anything that I'm passionate about in the first kind of first section, like we do a thing called talk up, and that's great because you just any moment of brilliance or amusement from the weekend you just get, and it's really short and sharp, and there's a lot of energy. The second section is talking up a player. I like the player analysis, player analysis aspect. And actually, just remembered the Battle Royale when we do the 4-way. Oh yeah,
I really enjoyed that.
I'm only saying that because I think I've won two of the three we've done, and so like the Angus Fatal 4-way that was absolutely brilliant, and
that was class.
It's great fun because that's like the one part of the show where it's actually kind of almost live, because we get 30 seconds or 45 seconds and there's no editing. So that's you. So everyone, obviously me more than anyone else, makes an absolute no hunt of it, but that's part of the amusement of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, when when you were debating Brecon and say, "Oh, it doesn't have a train station."
And then I was getting people messaging me saying, "Oh, he was wrong. It does have a train station, but it's some like archaic train station where
it's not even
it's like some museum or something."
Like it's for an amusement thing. Like I've not been to that train thing. I just call it a thing because I don't recognize it as a station since I was like 3 or 4 years old. So it's something you do once and then you never do again.
I went into, so I remember getting the messages. I went into the ScotRail app, typed in Brecon, and Brecon didn't come up on the ScotRail app. So they doesn't have a train station.
Yeah. If it's not ScotRail certified, then it isn't a train station.
No, ScotRail have the many weaknesses, but that's one thing I can back them up on.
Absolutely. What do you think of this whole Brecon thing about whether they're wanting to stop the playoff or whatever?
It's just
You probably get bored of talking about it.
It's not just nonsense. It's like just I can see why can understand why they're doing. They're just trying to do everything possible to survive. Kind of Hearts did that. Yeah, Hearts did that with taking it through the courts, etc., etc. But they escaped it kind of last season. Broda, of course, only played 3 games, and I mean, you almost when the Highland League called it Lowland League, I think there was 13 games played there. Mm-hmm. That wasn't great, but you can understand that it was Broda and Kelty, the 2 teams who last season were unfortunately hampered by it. So just I hate using this phrase because it just gets bounded about so much now. But it's like just take your medicine and go with it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because I mean, if there was ever going to be league reconstruction, last season was a perfect opportunity. So I mean,
that's another thing that really pissed me off, is that I think their league reconstruction idea was involving Colts in 2 years' time. So like just no, absolutely not. Absolutely. For that alone, you deserve to be chucked into the relegation playoff.
I completely agree. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I've only been to Brecon once, and it was for like because Motherwell weren't playing, and because I stay in Fife, I was like looking at grounds. I hadn't ticked off yet, so I was like, go to Brecon against Dumbarton. They scored and they won. They scored in the last minute and won 1-0. Funny thing is, Brecon won a game and I was there.
Yeah, there's not many people who can say that over the last 4 years.
I know.
I've been a couple of times, but like I said, it's not the train station. So my mate and his dad had a mate who passed away a few years ago, but he lived in Montrose, so we'd always get the train to Montrose, and then he would drive us from Montrose to Brecon, or Wrekin, as he calls it. And one, you know how in England on the last away day of the season, like fans would dress up, they do fancy dress.
Oh yeah.
My mate and I decided to do that, so we dressed as Grim Reapers. So there's a photo of us at the sideline in front of the hedge. Dressed as Grim Reapers with the face paint and everything, and the carrying scythes.
Brilliant. So who is your favourite guest that has appeared on A View from the Terrace?
Favourite guest? I was so close to saying Lewis Stevenson there, but then I remembered that it was talking up the 2016 Scottish Cup final, so I'm not gonna say that. My favourite guest, honestly, my memory is terrible. Enjoyed Craig Levine, just because, of course, Hearts connection. I'm just trying to think who we've had in over the last few years. Craig Brown was really good. Rose Riley probably had the biggest pop because I actually thought a lot more people would have known her story before it was on A View from the Terrace, but it did seem like there was a lot of people who had no idea who Rose Riley was, which is in a way is a bit is a bit of a shame. Trying to think, Danny Lennon was really, really good. I thought he he had some great stories. But no, I'd actually, I'll go left. So I don't think we've had a bad guest. I'll probably go left field. There was a guy called Robert, I think Robert Hare. He worked in the street football, and he won the World Cup with the homeless Scotland with the homeless World Cup. His story was really really real, but it was quite emotional because he'd been through a lot, and he was very open about telling that how he recovered. It was quite an inspirational story. So yeah, I'd probably go him just because he was someone who has done great work and is a World Cup winner.
Absolutely. I mean, that I really enjoyed that. But Rose Riley, I thought, well, it certainly opened my eyes to how bad it was at the time that she sort of came up as a professional footballer, and the fact that she had to pretty much get up and move to a different country, and then ended up playing for a different country as well to participate in the World Cup. That was mind-boggling in itself. Because her like just her journey, it really is kind of movie like. Absolutely.
I think Craig Levein and Craig Brown, ex-Scotland managers, that like I think it was Craig Brown really kind of hit home when we had him on the show. You're like, and bloody hell, this is a genuine football legend. So it was one of those moments you're kind of just like, this is so surreal.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of meeting Craig Brown when I was Motherwell mascot back when I was 11. It was 10 years ago now. Goodness, I'm starting to feel old. It's starting. I had a wee chat with him for about 10 minutes before the game. He actually took time away and just because I was probably quite old for a football mascot, because I mean you don't really see many 11-year-olds. It's usually like below the age of 10. So we actually did speak a bit about football, and I really enjoyed it. And when I got to do my wee kickabout in the park, I was told not to go any further than like 10 yards away, but I just took the ball off and put the ball into the goal as well, because I just had to.
Did you get a massive cheer?
I did, and it was against Hibs as well. So,
good, ideal.
Yeah,
Gordon won, Hibs nil.
Yeah, it's just a shame Motherwell lost the day 3-2.
We won't remember that.
We won't talk about that. So last season on the show, I think you might have a wee idea of where this is going.
Yes.
Yeah, the discussion about football vloggers.
So this is you asked me. I think you asked me before we started recording if I'd spoken to the other guys who've done this, and I've actually watched it. And I got to Sean's bit. I had to skip over this bit because it's one of those. It's probably one of the two bits of A View from the Terrace that I can remember that I cringe at for myself.
I really enjoyed the whole thing because, of course, it's not often I get to actually be on television. But, so since it's nearly a year, or it's basically a year since we've not had fans in the grounds, has your perception of football vloggers perhaps changed in any way?
So I think my perception not changed that much. It was just I put across my view really, really poorly. I definitely think there's a place for football vloggers. If someone was doing it next to me in the stand, I'd be like, that's fair enough. They enjoy doing that. It's not for me. But what I was kind of saying was the way I said it was kind of almost, how dare they celebrate a goal too much, which that's how it came across. But I didn't mean it to come across, because the last thing I want to do is tell fans how to celebrate. Yeah. And I actually, there's sometimes when I watch games, I think, especially for example the Gorgie end, so the opposite end to the away stand at Tynecastle, sometimes it's like when the ball, there's a big goal scored and there's not that mad celebration where like the limbs, and that's what I like to see is people going off their head. What I was trying to say was that sometimes I would think if I did the camera in someone's camera in your face, like, or if you had a camera, you're filming yourself, you would almost be more, you'd exaggerate it, you'd be kind of more pronounced. But then having listened to you saying that you'd actually caught that just out of because you'd actually been trying doing something and out of nothing. So it was what's the word for it? It was
the money shot.
Yeah, the money shot. It was exactly your reaction. So yeah, it was really it was poorly worded by myself, but I mean, you've come to expect that from me. So, but no, I didn't. I don't have anything against football vloggers. It's probably something that I would probably feel more comfortable doing now. But yeah, it's you see how successful they are, and I think like yourself, is it Adam Fraser, and Ben. I can't remember his surname. They're family fan. I met him a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, all do great work. And I'm not just saying it because I'm on. I genuinely mean that. But it was just I always think if it was me and I had a celebrate with a camera, I would almost feel like I have to kind of put on more of an act. But that's not always the case.
The funny thing is, like, I was like that was the first time I'd seen Motherwell win at Tynecastle, and because like I always like Motherwell have such poor records away from home at away in Glasgow, Edinburgh, Aberdeen. The only city we really do well in is Dundee. So it was just like I had a few drinks and I was like, just when you have a few drinks, it sort of heightens your mood as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So I was like going tenfold, like acting as if Motherwell had won the Champions League.
That's the thing. It's like this. I never like saying it because it's obviously a goal against Hearts, but I mean, there's always something something enjoyable. It doesn't have to be a game against Hearts, but when the camera cuts away and it's away and celebrating, it's always absolute bonkers. It's always great to see, and that again. I've spoken about it a few times. I've been lucky to cover a few games this season, quite a few. It's like as many as 15, and I've just not really enjoyed it. I'm grateful. I understand. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm grateful that I'm there. There's a lot of fans who would love to be in my position to be actually at the game, but I can tell you for certain that if you do go after one or two games when there's no fans, there's something massively missing, and it's just not nearly as enjoyable. I mean, it's football all the same, but the essence which is created by the fans is missing.
It's those small things like when a ball gets booted into the stand and someone tries to header it and stuff like that. I'm writing a fanzine article for the Terrace for the Patreon subscribers, and that's kind of what it is. But I'm talking about the angry fans or the emotional fans, stuff like just like a short corner. I miss a short corner, and then this almost the cacophony of contempt when there's a short corner, the ball's given away, or someone's trying to steal yards that are thrown, and there's some guy a few rows down losing eyes absolute shit at the referee. Like all that stuff's funny, and you just miss it. Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to move on to a couple other trivial questions now. What would you say is your favourite item of memorabilia you've picked up over your time as a football fan?
So probably 2 heart strips that I've purchased. Probably the 2 most expensive shirts I've purchased. First one is the AC Milan, the Inter Milan Hearts top from I think it was 93, 94. I might get my dates mixed up. So it was early to mid 90s. It's the away top, and I managed to get up off Classic Football Shirts, and it arrived back in the day. Like a large then and a large now are very, very different because they're so baggy back in the day. So I actually got it, and I had to get it tailored because I wanted to take it when we played Birkirkara in Malta. So me and a handful of mates, we went across to Malta, and I wanted to take that for the game. So I had to get it quickly tailored. It's such an uncomfortable fit, but it's such a cool fucking top. It is so cool. And then the other week I spent 60 quid on a Hearts 2005-2006 Hummel top. I used to have one, but I gave it away to a restaurant when I was traveling, and I've been on a hunt for it ever since. So I've got that. I don't think there's trying to think of other memorabilia. There's a lot of strips. I've got loads of programs. I always used to collect programs of. I've got loads of programs, loads of match stubs from almost every game I've been to. But no, they probably those two strips.
Yeah, I've got a whole wall. Well, I've got a certain collection of match stubs around a mirror that has the Motherwell badge on it and my name on it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, as well. So that's pretty good. That's pretty much up there. Also got a picture of the 91 winning side. I've also got this bad boy. I always show everyone. It's James McFadden scoring that goal in Paris.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna my view on that goal. It was a very, very lucky goal.
No, it was straight from the training ground.
Is it just dodgy keeper?
Aye, dodgy keeper, but still a magnificent strike from.
Oh, that's I would say I always argue that it wasn't as good a goal as people made out, but the moment itself, I think the moment was so much bigger and better than the actual goal.
Yeah, I think Faddy's said that it wasn't actually his best ever goal. It was the one he scored for Everton against Charlton. I think the one where he basically flicked the ball over a defender. Yeah.
I don't think it's his best Scotland goal. He didn't score a goal. He scored an absolute. It was more of a kind of individualistic one where he took on. I think it might have been Macedonia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2-0 game.
Yeah, and I think that was he's talked about that before. I don't know if he's categorically said that was his best Scotland goal.
I don't think he ever scored a tap-in for Scotland. It was always something special.
Oh yeah, but a proper talisman.
Absolutely. It's just a shame that he'll never make 50 caps.
What did he finish on?
48.
48, yeah. You do think from that era, if there was a player that kind of deserved 50 caps, it probably was him. Like I said, he was the talisman, the one kind of the spark. Oh yeah,
I think we've missed that. We've got a plethora of left backs, and we've got a lot of centre mids now, but we don't have that sort of creative genius that Faddy had.
No, I think weird. I think what makes McFadden better is the fact that he's better. He was better for almost like better for had a better Scotland career than. No, that's probably not the way to word it. He played in the English Premier League for fuck's sake. But you know what I mean. He was just a shining light for Scotland, and those big moments he always seemed to kind of save up for Scotland. And there's not been anyone like that, because you look at John McGinn could potentially be that player. Lyndon Dykes has come in and he has that bit of kind of gallousness, but he's a completely different player to McFadden. So yeah, that's central creative force who brings a bit of ooh la la to the final third.
Right. So you mentioned, of course, you went to Malta to see Hearts play Birkirkara. Where else have you been on your travels to see a football match?
I have been a few games in Europe. So most recent game abroad was 1860 Munich. Managed to track down a couple of tickets. I just emailed the club and thankfully put a couple aside for myself and my missus. So we went, it was February of last year. So it was a good time to go before the lockdown, and it was so good. I've been to, there was the second time I've been to Munich, and the first time I went to the Allianz Arena for the tour. There was no Bayern game, and I was left so unimpressed. I was like, don't really fancy going back there. So, and I know 1860 had moved back to their old ground. So when they said to go and pick up the tickets from the training ground. So the training ground's like 4 blocks down from the ground, and they've got a club shop and a bar. So it was just pick up the tickets, have a couple of beers in the club bar, then walk back up. And the ground is kind of ramshackle, but it's absolutely brilliant. It's like a old school Serie A ground. So that's probably been one of my most favorite European experiences. I've been to games in Chile as well. Did some traveling during the 2014 World Cup, and I went to see Chile against Egypt at the Estadio Nacional, and I was seeing a couple of games at, I can't remember the name of the ground. There's a team called Union Espanola. They play there, and I've seen a couple of games there.
Nice.
Nothing. It was weird because it was one of my first nights in Chile, and I got the underground up to this ground in the kind of north of the city, and I had no idea where I was going. Rough area. Ended up in the away end with like four other fans who travelled hundreds of miles, just the nature of the country, and just felt so out of place. But no, it was an interesting experience.
Like I've only had the pleasure of having one football match out with the UK, and that was Scotland against San Marino. I stayed the weekend in Rimini, and got the supporters club bus into the stadium. We'll just say it was like a 20-minute bus ride, and like San Marino was just like so small, and you've got like a valley, and on one side you've got like the chapel, and then on the other side there's just a massive hill, and then just in between that there's a pitch, and Scotland had like 3,000 fans there. It was great until the game started.
What year was that?
That was this qualifying campaign for the previous one.
Was it just recently?
Yeah, the 2-0 game, in which we were absolutely dire in.
I think that's a very that's a good European one to say. So I don't think many fans would have been to San Marino.
That was one I wanted to tick off the bucket list, because I was like, well, I know they are technically the worst team in Europe, but no, I wanted to tick it off because I'd planned to go to all the Nations League matches just previously there until COVID hit, but because I'd actually like planned every inch of a travel, like when we were doing a back-to-back Slovakia away then Israel away, I was going to get the train from Bratislava into Vienna, then the flight from Vienna to Tel Aviv. It was going to be absolutely perfect. I think COVID hit. Yeah,
that's a classic. I know you missed out on the last year. Missed out so much because I think that's part of that's probably the best bit about like going away games, especially in Europe, is the logistic sides of like how we need to get the train here, bus here, then get a flight across. And it's a few of my mates have kind of planned similar in that they when there was double or triple headers, they eyed going from one place to another. But no, it's going to a game abroad is. I don't know. It just feels different. It's class. Even probably the worst game I've seen is I went to see Croatia, Macedonia. I think it was. I think it was when they were in our was group.
That for 2014 World Cup?
2014 World Cup, yeah. Because can't remember what year.
Someone scored a free kick in that game, did they not?
Was it 1-0?
I think it might have been 1-0. Was it a Modric or Rakitic free kick?
Potentially. Genuinely, there was such a bad game that I can't remember. But it was one of those grounds I've always seen Dinamo Zagreb, and like we just had to go there on our travels, and it was again it was an experience, and it was just I think it's just class ticking off these going to European games, and just seeing how they take in football, their culture to it, and compared to Scotland.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of Scotland, if there was one thing in Scottish football you could change, what would it be and why?
Well, I think, do you want me to put this light on? Because I might light.
That might be best.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds. Just conscious there, I just realised it's just getting darker and darker and darker. One thing I would change in Scottish football, I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think. Change. Terracing in the top flight. I think you should have to have Terracing in the top flight. I was just about to say, I hate people wanting to change football, and we've seen it massively this week, the Super League and everything that's the changes to the Champions League, and or VAR, just try and just leave the game as it is. But no, terracing in the top flight is games are just so much more enjoyable when you can stand and there is. I just like grounds. For example, Montrose I look at as one of my favourite grounds because I think it's just the perfect kind of Scottish. I know it's lower league lower league football ground. With you've got the old stand, you can stand all around the ground. You've got covered terracing, you've got uncovered terracing. It's you can stand higher than the kind of grass level. So yeah, terracing in the top flight, or just being able to stand in the top flight. I know it's something that Motherwell, I think, are quite keen to pursue.
Yeah, well, thing is, when I was at Fir Park actually a couple of weeks ago, interviewing Sods and Gallagher, and
who was the second one there?
Declan Gallagher.
Okay, I've never heard his nickname before.
Oh, Stephen O'Donnell, Sods.
No. So did you? I thought you said. I didn't think you said Gallagher. I thought you gave him a nickname.
No, I did. I just called him Gallagher.
Oh, okay.
But because they said where the Well Boys would be, it's the gradient or something like that. It's too small.
Yeah, I mentioned on Twitter, and Alan Burrows said that because I just looked at it and I thought that stand, I always call it keep cigarettes away from the pitch stand. I thought that was always the perfect one for kind of a terrace. But he said with safe standing. And again, I understand the safe standing, but it would just be great to just have actual proper terracing back.
Yeah, I was told the Cooper stand would be able to have it. But at the same time, it's like having the Well Boys there would be nothing like having the Well Boys where they are at the moment.
You want them right next to the away fans.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's why I go there, because we can give it as good as we can take the slagging. So like that's why I enjoy sitting in the East Stand so much, because you always get to give it a bit of stick to.
Yeah, there's always that bit of there's more tribalism. There's always that kind of bit of edge and poison, venom, however you want to put it. I do think that's needed at football. You compare Motherwell, because I think that really does enhance the atmosphere if you're kind of almost competing. Whereas, for example, Hibs, they used to, I think it was section 43, they used to be near the away fans, and then Hibs for some reason chucked them up in the famous 5, so right in the corner, the complete opposite direction from the away fans. And again, I think that had a detrimental effect on the Easter Road, the atmosphere.
Yeah, because I remember a few times when I've been to Easter Road, obviously we've just been in the away stands, and like it's just normal, like and then we just look like right diagonally across from us